Hey everybody, this is Petey from the Spinner Rack, and we also have.
Calvin Ellis, ready to rock.
So today we are looking over at another site, the comic book comeback you've been waiting for. They do well. That's not the name of their show, but they're doing a thing on these trending comic books, and I just wanted to get the comic book hero to chime in on it. And their number 10 is Ice Cream Man, the Mortal Cold Shuffle #1 from Image, and it's a recent book. What do you say about this book? It's like a playing card thing. There's a bunch of stuff going on in this. What do you say about this?
Ice Cream Man is a good series. It has lasted longer than I expected it to. I thought it would probably be out by about issue 25
Mm-hmm.
in terms of the format and the story. I mean, the stories have been good.
Mm-hmm.
Stories have been good. I'm sorry, just a sec. Just a sec. Yeah, the stories have been good. It's with the horror, maybe like a slight horror science fiction theme going on here.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that they've been able to go this long with that and they haven't run aground on stories, very good series. This is right in line with them in terms of what they've been doing. This is a sort of an expansionist uh, set right here with the cards and everything. But if you're a fan of Ice Cream Man, yeah, this is definitely up your alley, without a doubt.
Cool. All right, that's good to hear. And then we have The Simpsons. What do you say about The Simpsons comic book? The
This
special
is
collector's
okay.
edition. So you go. Yeah.
What? Okay, this is like what number nine on terms of books that are selling in their store.
This is something that's trending. Simpsons comics and story #1 from
Mhm.
1993 when they started publishing them. What do you say about that,
Yeah. Oh,
Smart Man?
yeah. We can move on.
I've been wondering about those Simpsons comic books because I used to check them
I
out.
have
They were
Simpson
interesting.
comics. No, I have Simpson comics that sell
Hmm.
that are, more around the Simpsons is a fringe book number one. It ran for a while.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a book that it ran for a while and the series is still running. But I mean, if they're saying this book is trending, that means it's doing better than $10. That's great. But this is usually a $10 book. So if it's trending, I don't know what it's actually doing, 15, 20, but there's no reason for it. There's no reason for the trend. So I can't put a lot of stock into this. And then I would really want to ask, who is this selling for? Because this is not a hard book to find.
So then I would ask you this: Are you selling the Treehouse of Horror, or are you selling like
Yes.
radio? Okay, so that makes sense. That makes more sense than this.
Treehouse of Horror, Treehouse of Horror, Radioactive Man. There was a Simpsons Futurama crossover.
Hmm.
Those sell very well. Futurama sells better than Simpsons.
Wow.
Futurama sells better than Simpsons. Those books are much harder to find than Simpsons, and I usually do much better numbers on Futurama. So the fact that this is trending, hey, kudos, but I don't think this is an I don't think this is a like an overall thing to look at. This it's just not. It's not a hard book to find, and if it's trending, that probably means you're finally getting the $10 that you put it up for 6 months ago.
Wow. All right. So then we have Avengers #9, the first appearance of Wonder Man. What do you say about that?
Duh, duh. You got a show coming out. You got a show. Okay, this is within, as a rule of thumb, if it's a successful series, say like Justice League of America, the Avengers, the Defenders, X-Men, the first 10 issues tend to have the most value.
Hmm.
That's a usual rule of thumb because you get a lot of the key characters within those first 10 issues. With the X-Men, you get all of the Fab Five within the first issue. If you look at something like the Fantastic Four, if you look at something like the Fantastic Four, you've already had like some key meets, by issue number 10. Same thing with Justice League of America, bunch of first appearances. With the Avengers, it's no different, and one of their key appearances is Wonder Man. We got Kang, we had Immortus, you have Wonder Man, you have the first team up with the Hulk and Submariner, Space Phantom. Yeah, so there's a bunch of stuff that happens in the first 10 issues. So that's a rule of thumb for anybody looking at these particular series. And this is the first appearance of Wonder Man. This is always a book that's been sought after. It is a high value book. The fact that a show is coming out is going to drive the value. The fact that a show is coming out that doesn't actually have Simon Williams, Wonder Man in it, and it's still driving the value shows you exactly where comic book guys are.
Mhm. What do you think
We'll
about
take
this?
any money.
What do you think about this price? Almost 2000 for a 9.0 um, Wonder Man Avengers number 9. What do you think about that price?
Sounds high, but I don't know how, at this point, that might be a very good grade for the book. It just might be a very good grade for it. I don't know. I, I'm probably, I'm certain that there have been higher grades, at the very least a 9.4. But, it's demand. You have a show coming out right now, high grade. That is a high grade for a book from 19, what is that? 19, what is that now?
1964.
1960.
64.
1964. That is
Yes.
a high grade for a book coming from 1964. It's rare. That's a good grade. So, that might be it. For me, it seems high, but I'm the guy who was selling Wonder Man. When I sold my Wonder Man copy, I've only had one copy of it ever, and the condition that it was in and the price that it was getting at the time, when I got $100 for it, I was very happy because that was way above market at the time. So looking at this right over here, the book just may have moved. I haven't sold it. I haven't had my hands on a copy in a long time. Uh, and this is a 9 point, and this is a CGC graded 9.4, 9.0.
Okay. All right. So they do a little thing about the movie. They, there will
Yeah, that
be
don't look, that doesn't look like, does that look like Simon Williams to you?
they will have a Simon Williams in the movie form, and
Hmm. Yeah,
now
does that
this
look like Simon Williams to you though?
no, of course not.
Looks like Black Manta. Doesn't look like Simon Williams to me.
So now we have an odd one. X-Men Annual 14 from 1990 is a big crossover, Days of the Future Present, and it has
Hmm.
he's not the first appearance of
First
A.
appearance.
It's not a first appearance of Ahab, but it's the conclude. I don't. Is there any? I don't know if there's any first appearances in here. Gambit's in
Isn't this
here.
the first? Yeah, isn't
Gambit.
this should be first appearance? This should be first appearance of Gambit.
Okay, yeah, yeah, that makes sense then. All right, so the first appearance again. So
This
what?
is I don't know. This is one of these ones that comic guys make mistakes, okay? And they tend to make the same mistake repeatedly, where Gambit appears on the cover of Uncanny X-Men 266. And so a lot of people believe that is the first appearance. However, his first appearance is predated of that issue in X-Men Annual 14. Now, here's the
Hmm.
trouble with that. The money is already in Uncanny 266, meaning before people realize, oh, wait a minute, there's an actual appearance of Gambit that predates Uncanny 266. The value of 266 was well on its way to 100, $200. So it was never going to come down, and people were going to then run after X-Men Annual 14. So if this is picking up steam, that makes perfect sense because it is his actual first appearance. And hey, it's still an early appearance of Gambit. It predates the other, and it's probably cheaper to get than the actual first appearance of Gambit. So that type of thing does happen, sort of like Hulk 180 and Hulk 181. We know that Wolverine's first appearance is Hulk 180, but all the money is in Hulk 181. It's just not, these guys are not going to come over here and say, "Oh, what? We messed up. Wolverine is in Hulk 180." But for years, Hulk 181 was said to be the first appearance of Wolverine, and everybody went along with it simply because Wolverine was on the cover. And nobody looked at nobody. To be quite frank, people did not read Hulk 180 to see that Wolverine was actually in it. And by that time, it's like, look, there's no way anybody's going to say, oh no, Hulk 180, that's the book now. So those guys who paid 5, 6 grand for 181, you guys are out of luck. It's just not going to happen.
So there you go. This one, I think I have it somewhere. Good Lord.
I have it too for a reasonable fee.
What about comparison to Raw $50, CGC 9.8, 160?
Uh, Mine is in the middle of the 50 and the 160.
All right, that makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
some good range. There, of course,
But
they
to be
got.
honest, most people don't know about that book. You could probably get it for $10 if you just do a little looking.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes total sense. And then the new Batman, Batman number one. This new one with Matt Fraction. What do you say about that?
Sold a lot of copies, so I'm not sure to. As a rule of thumb, if it sold a lot of copies, unless this is one of the rarer variants, take the money and run while you can.
Okay. Yeah.
Go on, take the money and run.
Say $5. I guess it's just starting. So, Absolute Batman number six. Is this something to do
Who's
with
that? First appearance of, is
the
that the first
Joker?
appearance of no, Joker's later. I'm thinking it's either Mr. Oh, good grief. Is it Mr. Freeze? Is that Bane? Mr. Freeze or Catwoman? It's
So they
one of
got some
those. Do you
shots of
happen to know?
Joker. We got some shots of Joker here, so I
Oh,
think it.
are they saying that that was like a cameo appearance?
Yeah, they got a couple shots of him where they show him the Joker, and then they got him looking sitting in a chair, looking funky. And,
So is that how it's being marketed as the first cameo appearance of the Joker?
yeah, I think so.
Ah,
So
I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know because again, we've already stated that this is an alternate universe. So
hey, you're
eventually
coming in a
none of this
little
stuff is gonna
low.
matter.
You're coming in a little low.
Am I better?
No, he's still the same.
Hang on. Hang on.
There you go, getting
Let
closer.
me just let me just
There we,
tighten up.
you're back.
Cool.
Is this an
Yeah, because we
overestimation?
were it I don't I mean, it's an alternate universe. We know it's only gonna matter for so long.
Hmm.
So I don't know how long these alternate versions are gonna matter as well. I mean, let's be frank. Is this Joker ever going to mean as much as the Joker proper? I don't think so.
Well, you have the Joker man, the Batman who laughs. Basically, it's a Judge Dredd character, and they made him into something. What about this new Joker?
Well, the Batman who laughs is exactly what? The Joker.
Yeah,
That's, that's what he was. That's what if Batman became Batman, but he was the Joker. So, do we need another one?
seems like I would say no, but they keep making them, and they keep, another bad
Hey,
version of
I
crazy.
will be the first one. I will be the first one to admit that is a really cool design for the Joker. Like really making him into, I mean, before the Batman's villains were considered freaks, now they're just out and out monsters.
Yeah, yeah,
So I really like the design. I really like the concept of what he's contending with. But at the end of the day, he's not the Joker. He's the absolute universe Joker, but he's not the Joker.
yeah. It's kind of well. If this design they have here is him, it's kind of like putting together some Venom, some Sleazoid, or what people like to say the Brood, and everything that cool that you could put in there.
Hey, right now, you can't go wrong with Absolute Batman. You just can't go wrong. The book is hot. I mean, just like white hot. So, if you're making your money on it, hey, take the money and run. But don't count on this to be something 2 years from now.
Yeah, and definitely be something that'll be on the trades, but yeah, at some point it's gonna go away. All right, so now we have one of the no, this is not the first independent, but this is that I bought. But we have Predator number one from Dark Horse, 1989. We got so much Predator stuff. What do you say about this?
Yes, 10 out of 10. Now, what you need to realize for those of you guys who are not in the know, there was a second printing of Predator number one. You cannot tell if it is a second printing without opening up the book. So, for those of you who are very much into it's got to be a first printing, that sort of thing, don't buy it. without knowing if it's a first or it's a second printing. But I read this book in real time. Me and my brother were both fans of Predator. I don't know how many times we saw that together. And then the series came out. So I remember I got it, I read it, really liked it. I passed it on to him, and we both read the whole thing like over, it was 4 issues over 4 months. And it was just great. It was 10 out of 10 for us. Excellent. And then they followed that up for us with Alien versus Predator, which was also good at the end of the day. But this was like out of the gate, out of the gate. And this was the storyline that they adapted for Predator 2, with
Yeah.
the Predator coming to the city and, fighting in the urban jungle as opposed to the jungle proper. So this is a great book to have, great book to own. It's always in demand. It is always in demand, sometimes more, sometimes less, but always in demand. Be prepared to spend some money for it if you want one.
Well, I'll just say my experience. Um, I was buying independents from time to time, and this one, I was drawn to it more so for the artist because this was the guy post year one who's gonna do Batman, and he did like one issue, and he said Chris Warner. He also writes Predator comic books now too, and he's done a lot of creating for Dark Horse. But I saw it and I was wowed by the art, and I was like, well, why did they have him have Mike DiCarlo, kind of ink him, and why did they just let him do this type of stuff for Batman? And that's my always thinking of see different things of how it would work back to the mainstream at that point in my comic buying. But it was good to see what he could do. And then it's funny because that same artist, my brother went to Marvel. I don't know if it was a planned day or not, but he went to Marvel and he came back and it was all these odd comic books. It was nothing, no big name. There was like a Misty, what is that girl's comic book, like the Misty or whatever it was. And it also was a
Oh
Doctor.
yeah, I remember.
You remember
Yeah, I
that
remember
one?
that one. I remember that.
And there
Yeah,
was
I remember
also
Misty.
so then there was also a Doctor Strange in there, and the Doctor Strange came after I think it was there was who's artists Marshall Rogers who'd done Batman, Michael Golden who's done obviously you know Michael Golden, Paul Smith who'd done the X-Men, and then we had a new artist who was Chris Warner who I think had done like he was one of Romita's Raiders at the time, and he was doing a regular comic book, and it was like he was doing mystical Doctor Strange stuff, and he's like usually a mean, but even though obviously he's done space stuff and he does gritty city stuff, but it seems like the gritty stuff is kind of sting. And I'm looking at this thing, I was like, this is way better than it's supposed to be. Like this is like I know it's not a success because Marvel gave it, and they're like trying to get people to look at other comics they never saw before, but this is like as good as the people his peers, the established pros, stuff he was doing, and to see him kind of make his name and his bones in Dark Horse was very good. That he found a way because I saw his stuff, I liked it. I liked his first Batman issue. I was sad to see him go, and he just said that he was struggling with the deadline initially, and somehow moved on to Dark Horse, and it been seems to be fruitful that he's doing that. So kudos to him. I've always, always glad he was, and I like some of his creators' greatest world stuff that he created. Not all, but it was a lot of stuff to create. And I was looking at it recently. So yeah, he's put his tent down in Dark Horse and has done a lot of stuff, moved into writing. So it was cool, just cool to see that he made a name for himself there. And ooh, we have a sale and a 9.8 at $415 and raw for 60. So
That's low. That is
thought you
low.
might say that. Especially with this
The
the
average
predators
eBay
heating up.
sale is
It's what?
average eBay sale $60. Is this like the second printing or something? I'm not sh- I used to, I mean, like $100 easy for Predator number one. I mean, these guys might just say, hey, it's selling now, so I don't care. I got 5 copies, I'll sell them at 60 rather than wait and get the full amount of money because I'm a piker. But even 415 for a 9.8, that's low. That's low. I know I would do at least a couple $100 better than that on that particular book. So that's I mean, hey, kudos if you're the guy who got it for 415. That's a good price.
All right, cool. We're coming down to the top three, but this also pointing out that there's a Predator movie, so it should even, your estimate should be right on the money for it. So then we have Youngblood. Oh, wow, Youngblood number one. What say you with that?
Are you for real?
I'm saying as a seller, I'm not talking about. I didn't know we were
Oh,
gonna run into Rob Liefeld here, but we
we're
did.
looking at the we're looking at the same screen, right?
I'm
You see
pumping.
that $4 there, right?
Huh? But it's $100 of CGC.
Yeah, it's not $100 CGC any grade. It's $100 CGC 9.8, which means you got to shoot the moon on this thing. That means you got to have a pristine copy, spend money to have it graded, shipped there, and shipped back so you can get $100.
Wow. When you
So,
put it like
what's your markup? Let's say you spent
that.
I'll be generous. Let's say you spent $30 altogether, plus let's say you got $1 copy of it. Okay, so you spent $31, comes back, you sell it for 100 after fees. Let's say you got about 80 bucks. So, okay, but you could only do that if you get a 9.8. Otherwise, you're getting $4.
Wow. Wow. Oh man. I'm sorry. Wait a
Otherwise,
second. Wait a second. Wait a
you're getting
second.
$4.
He's got a whatnot Young Blood Deluxe. He's redoing the dialogue. He's got another comic book coming out with it. Like I was like a giant size Young Blood. And you're saying that's not going to drive up the price?
Let me put it this way. Let me put it this way. I'm making an observation, and I think right now you're making a robservation.
You dad.
Okay? No, it's just no. No. I would I mean some books with Liefeld's art move. This isn't one of them. There's some rare, there's like a Liefeld cover of who's this?
Don't say
Deathstroke and
Spider Man.
Lobo.
Don't say Spider Man with the She Hulk. No, that's the burn cover he drew the inside. I was thinking, what's a
No,
rare one of
it's a
his?
there's a Liefeld cover. It's rare. I don't think a lot of people even up on it. It's a Liefeld cover of Lobo and Deathstroke.
Hmm.
And it's not an easy cover to find. It's hard, but you can't get value for it. I mean, you have to wait to get value on that book. So his art is, even with the rarity of the book, the fan favorites of both Deathstroke and Lobo, it's hard to get value for that book. A lot of guys will undercut it, sell it for $30, $40. That should be like a $125 book because of because of the rarity on it. Hard to get value on it. So Liefeld in and of himself as a creator doesn't drive the sale. And even with the rarity, it doesn't drive the sale. So I mean, that's a lot of work for $100. That's a lot of work for that's a lot of work you're going to pay to get $100, or I'm sorry, $60 after everything is said and done.
Wow. All right. So, somehow I think guessing he charted because he has a bunch of different Youngblood product, and even with the
Hey,
Hmm?
no, with this one, what was the other one? The Simpsons? Those two are suspect. I don't know how they made it onto the list. I really don't. Those are suspect.
No, I don't disagree, but I just factored in those two things that were going on.
That's
So they,
probably how look at all the stuff that had to happen just for the book to be worth $4. So how low was it
oh,
before?
oh, that, that this is I'm whoa. I was trying to figure how we're gonna get in some Liefeld stuff
Ladies,
in here. Huh?
hey, I'm sorry. And Liefeld is part of the reason the 90s were not a good time for comic books. Okay, once you hit like 92, 93, a lot of the stuff that gets comes out is junk. It just is. It doesn't
Well,
start picking up again until like the early aughts. But so much of that stuff, it doesn't matter if it's Marvel, DC. It does matter if it's Image because most of that stuff is junk. The 90s were like 90, like 93 to 99. That's probably the worst year. That is probably the worst year for comics on record because there's a glut of stuff and there's very little value to the overall market. It's not like the comics when we came into like the Bronze Age era, like I would say from like 70 to 88.
Hmm.
70 to 88 were so good. Were so good that you look at people that like, oh man, he has a really like a really nice collection. It pretty much didn't matter what you bought. All of the stuff was good. All the
Yeah.
stuff was good. If you were buying Spider-Man because you like Spider-Man, you probably had one of the best collections, bar none, with the exception of the Silver Age run. And all
Hmm.
you had to do was just buy it. It wasn't like, it was doing something, spectacular for, no pun intended. But if you had bought, say, Spider-Man, or if you had come into Thor at that time, or X-Men, or New Teen Titans, but even if you weren't buying that and you were buying other stuff around the edges like Werewolf by Night or Master of Kung Fu, even now those are still worth more money than almost all the stuff from that period in the 90s. All you had to do was just be a regular buyer, just be curious. Well, let me try this, and you would have a nice collection. Whereas in the 90s, guys bought everything and the collections are worthless.
Well, I would say I'm gonna go since we're here and you brought up like how definitely how bad it was. I don't disagree. The thing that I used to struggle with the cartoon Cave guys was like saying, let's take this young blood, let's put this up against, I don't know, let's say Swamp Thing, the first Swamp Thing, right? Or even take the Alan Moore Swamp Thing. Which
First
one would
appearance or first appearance of Swamp Thing or
well,
Swamp Thing number
not
one?
selling wise, because you're saying point bring up the comics are bad, right? And the
Mhm.
kayfabe guys would basically say that the kid would want this in comparison to over anything else besides something that they were on the in with. Like if something on the in with, they'll be nice to, but they saying this in your face type of comic book is something that a kid would like because it's just so action in your face, even though it's taking the dynamics, all the tricks from all the greats and just kind of pushing them all to the forefront. But at the same, but I always feel like yes, if you give the people like look at what was it, the Teen Titans, the one where you got was it Kid Flash and Robin out of their costume and
Mhm.
their costume on the floor, and you don't, even though we'd be able to look at it, even if you had that in a bag, you would pick up that comic book not knowing that it was already boarded. You pick up that and go, oh, this will look like it's going to be a good one, and then you come in, there's all this action in the front, and then it's all the story in the back. That's just you're stuck to it too, and the story is very strong, and obviously, Perez would do no action. They did I think what was it, one of those issues, the day in the life was the 8 or something like that. There's like no action in it. It's just them hanging out, talking, and this characterization. And it's like they used to say, well, this is what draws you in. This will draw a kid in. When at the same time, we need, we had stuff that was drawing kids in that would either could be the Swamp Thing, could be the X-Men, it could be that. But this kind of stroke, distilled, took all of the story out, put all of the in your face close up camera, what they say, like they call it the burn shot, the low angle, showing everything type of deal. Everything is that. Like there's no taking the camera. This is what it is. And it's just hard to see that I just didn't like the point to say is I didn't like that their thing was kind of using the lowest common denominator, saying this is the best way to draw kids in when it wasn't drawing kids in. It was drawing people who are saying, "Well, I'm going to buy this anyway, even though it looks like trash because it's going to be worth something sometime later." And at the same time, I was like hoping maybe he'll get better when he learns how to draw. Like he'll, get real anatomy in there and keep his energy. And I think 6, where it seemed like he was trying to go get a little more story into it, and he like looked at Cyberforce and said, "Oh my God, I cut myself off. I cut my lower extremities off. I need to get back to balls to the wall type of stuff." And he, like he had what's the name go to hell. But that's the thing. I think looking at this thing, I don't think it was great for kids. I think it was great for the adults that were going, and some kids liked it. And at the same time, the way sorry to say, this just kind of hurt the comic industry. And I'll just go with what you said because I can't get out what I'm trying to say. It just sucks. So let's move on.
The stuff, well, the stuff that we were coming up with, well, these books were collectible.
Yes.
Okay, they were collectible. We didn't buy them for the collectability. We bought them for the entertainment value, but we kept them because we liked the story and we wanted to hold on to it, we wanted to own it. Whereas these guys were coming in and buying these books to the point they were million issue sellers. They were buying them, for the collectability, but because of the story, they were disposable, which the books that we had were supposed to be. Our stuff was supposed to be disposable. You read the Teen Titans book until it's like all dogged and
Yeah.
ratted, and
Yep.
then you throw it away, right? It's cheap, it's disposable. Well, their books were the books in the 90s were more expensive. I mean, not significantly more expensive, but they were more expensive and they were 100% disposable. So you had a total reversal of it. It's so ironic because these guys were going in speculating and spending all of this money thinking this was going to be the next best thing. And the stuff that we had, these guys were just like, oh no, we need to keep these kids interested so they'll come back and buy another issue until they get old enough and stop buying. But in doing that, they made it totally disposable as opposed to the stuff that we got that was collectible. So sorry, don't know how this made it on the list. I don't know why
Yeah.
you're getting $4 for it.
Yes, good point. So we thought we were gonna get to some better stuff when we got to three. But we had to roll. Oh,
Obviously not.
so this is what I was talking about. So we had these new young bloods that are coming out, and this is why I was saying, is there any other thing since you got some new stuff coming out? So, okay.
Yeah, it's like $4. You got to do all this new stuff for $4?
All right, we're leaving that alone. Viva Vendetta, the comic book version of it.
Interesting.
9.8, 127 bucks and 25 raw. What do you say about that?
That's that okay. The 9.8 is low. That's low. I just recently sold a copy of V Vendetta for 20.
Hmm.
So now I'm curious because this is a book, again, this is a book that normally sells.
Yeah.
If you have issue number one, you can get $20 is pretty much $20 par for the course. 25 is definitely better.
Hmm.
But once I see my stuff is usually priced, I usually price if market is at 10, I might get double for it. So if somebody's getting more money than me, I usually want to look at what's going on and say, well, is there some interest? Is there a movie? Is something coming out or what have you? Is there an anniversary? But $25 for the book, that's good. But 127 for a 9.8 is low. This should easily be a 200 to between 200 and $250 book in a CGC 9.8. I don't know who's taking I have no idea who's taking these prices. Who in their right mind is taking $127 for this book? It's just that's only this is a much better book, a much more sought after book, and you're saying it's only got $27 in value more than Youngblood? Like, what are you people doing?
That's pretty funny. That's like I didn't know how we were gonna get to Rob in the recent days, but we got to him. I would ask a question then. What about like the first appearance of V in Warrior? Does that do any kind of numbers?
Oh yeah, that's like man. This is because that first appearance is not well, the first appearance in Warrior is not just V, but I believe it's also Miracle Man.
Okay,
So I
yeah,
got to
yeah,
look at
yeah.
it again. I think there's a couple of first appearances there, but I think the highest sale on that was like $500.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I was just looking at
Yes, that's a
the.
good
All
sale.
right, cool. That's
Now, now I've
hmm?
got a copy. I've got a copy. I'm doing a poor man's press of this copy. It's been on the poor man's press for like a good 3, 4 years. So when I come out, it's gonna be. it's gonna be like it'll be so flat. It'll be so flat. The
Yeah.
guys won't be able to stand it. But that was when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's a good book. Maybe I'll go grade it. And then I
Mhm.
looked and I was like, no, I don't think I'll get the 9.8. But then things changed where it's like, oh, I don't need to grade anymore to get good money. So eventually I'll break it out and sell it. But yeah, Warrior, that's a good book. That's a good book to have. But the V for I think you got four different bites at the apple with V for Vendetta. You have the Warrior.
Hmm.
You have the Warrior issue. You have the issue here in terms of the first issue. You have the hardcover V for Vendetta with the dust jacket, and
Hmm.
then you have the Absolute Edition. Any of those will get you some money.
Wow, wow, okay. It's good to know. And we get to our their number one.
I hope it's good.
Oh, it's Absolute Batman Annual.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, I didn't know it was gonna go
You got
left,
to be kidding.
super left,
This list is suspect, man. Do you know why this issue is of any interest?
because he's fighting some white supremacists, right? That's what's going on in this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's did you ever read this was Detective Comics Annual 2 right after Crisis?
No, no. Did I? Possibly. It's been so long. What about it?
Yeah, I mean that's like a retread of that because in Detective Comics Annual 2 he fights the Ku Klux Klan. And I sold that book regularly for like $10. Regularly. All I gotta do is Batman versus the Klan. And there's somebody out there who's never read it. They're like, well, I'll pay $10 for that. No problem. So now he's like he's fighting some white supremacist group. I was like, this is the ultimate universe. Isn't everybody a white supremacist in the ultimate universe?
Well, yeah, it's kind
This is
of
Darkseid's you.
yeah, yeah. It's asking a lot for just saying, oh, we're back to the real world type of deal. So, but I will say, no, that's the thing. That's the hard part of doing. Um, I think it's what the pros would say to people when they see pinups in their portfolios, is that doing the real world stuff in the sort of alternate universe. But I think one of the tricks, I think in Days of the Future Past, like Byrne had, it was an extreme wide shot of a horse-drawn bus with people standing on it, and that kind of had, like, even though it was a little Escape from New York type of thing, maybe even before Escape from New York came out. But it had that feel, like especially all the beginning of it. And I think a lot of these otherworldly places, like Age of Apocalypse, they don't have anything that connects to the everyday stuff to kind of feel what would the New York of the Age of Apocalypse be. And this isn't that. This is having the everyday people, but it doesn't give you the locale. Obviously, it's like everything is like the mud desert, the mud pile in Dark Knight too. So, but at the same time, this is this obviously with the same when it was got the same sort of buzz. I immediately thought of Superman, the radio show against the Klan, and I think they recently sent it to
Yeah,
a
that predates all of this. I
yeah.
mean, the two biggest sales that I had this week,
Hmm.
Kid and Play #9.
I was going to ask you what this. Keep going. What else?
Kid and Play #9 and Star Wars 30. If I send you the images, you can put them up.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. So yeah,
I'll make it. I'll make it quick.
no, I'll put them up when I cut in the show. Definitely put those up. But send it to me and I'll put them up. Oh, you want to put them up? I can put them up now. Yeah, send it to me.
Hang on. Let me
But
get to the old chat.
so I'm gonna
All right.
do a quick log
Kid
and
Kid
say,
and Play Kid and Play #9 is the last issue of the series. Kid and Play ran 9 issues, Marvel Comics. It's a newsstand copy and it went for 150 bucks.
150
So
bucks for what?
yeah, for Kid and Play.
Wait a second. I don't understand.
What don't you understand?
Why did the last issue go for that much?
It's hard. It's a very hard to find issue, and Kid and Play. Okay, I don't know.
Thank you. That's all
I
you
can't,
had to
I
say.
can't, I can't justify $150. I can't justify $150 for Kid and Play, but there's some cats out there who are willing to pay this much for the book based on the rarity. It's a newsstand, which is harder to find. It's Kid and Play. I know they were, I mean, Kid and Play were very popular, very, very popular at one point between the album, the film. They had a cartoon, they had the comic book. I don't know what else they had going on, but they were very popular. So there are people who may just really look back on that, Kid and Play as, as a group, as an entity very fondly. And they're into collecting. So they want that particular issue. So that's Kid and Play. The other is Star
Hold
Wars
on for a sec.
30.
Let's just stay with the Kin Play. I want to put that up, these up first before you move on to
All
the
right.
next one. Ready, set.
Well, what's the,
So are you seeing it?
officially Kid and yeah, yeah. Officially Kid and Play never broke up.
Yeah.
They what does it Play likes to say? They didn't break up, they grew up.
Hmm.
Play decided to, it was pretty funny. I was watching this interview with them. Play went on to become a minister and Kid went on to become a comedian. And they,
Yeah.
they're still cool. They're still cool. He's like, but Kid is like, well, he's teasing Play because Play, decides to become a minister. So of course he's, Christian, and that's becoming a much stronger influence. So he's like, they're on stage, or I think he was joking about it in his comedy, and he was like, no, we had to take a little bit of a break so he could do his thing with the minister stuff, so we could have a little bit of separation because it was bleeding over into stuff. So instead of like rolling, it's he was like, hola, hola, hey, roll with Jesus Christ now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So you
Um,
had that type of stuff going on. But officially, they never broke up. They're still cool. But they were, again, this is the stuff that's moving for me. I'm not moving this, I'm not moving Youngblood. So, but
oh man. I'll
this
say
is a
I
this is a
look.
$150 book.
Wow, that's
$150 book.
crazy. That's crazy. I think, and when I looked at issue one, the art looked pretty, at least on the cover, looked pretty good. So I hope the whole comic for people that are either buying it or reading it, it holds up for them too. But the cover of that first one, when they still had the fade on there, was really good. So, and these guys I've been connected to them, you know, since I got more so when I got to college. But there's always a thread with them because we used to watch the videos, and then they had a couple of hot songs. But when I went to Jersey, the girls there were playing the music and they were practicing the dances from the commercial. Like you guys, I didn't realize that people actually practice dance moves. They didn't actually just adopt them and able to do it. That was the first thing. And then when I was working, people were saying I looked like him, and they weren't big though. When I got to working when I was 17, they weren't big. They say that they weren't big. They were going to be. They went to the New Edition concert. So these girls that went to the concert, one of the girls got picked out by Bobby Brown, but she passed out beforehand. So we didn't get to go nowhere with them. And they said the girls were like, "Oh yeah, Kid and Play were there," but they were in the audience, and they got mauled. Just sort of like the scene where the people are like, "Oh, you just guys from the video," and they're just coming in as show, and they had to be escorted out because the kids went crazy. So, and then in college, people said I was trying to be Kane, and they said I looked like Kid and Play. So anyway, we get to the next one.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I can see that. I don't think you would have ever, I don't, yeah, I
I
don't think you
was
would have, yeah,
going
I'm
for
sorry.
Kane, and then they were saying,
No
but I was like,
Kane.
I'll take the popularity. I'll take it. So here we go. We got Star Wars, the Mile High Edition. Is that what this is?
Yeah, yeah. So, and this actually, I think the high on this is 130, but mine was priced for 125, and eventually that's what it somebody was like making some offers on it, and I was just ignoring them, and finally they just bought it straight out. So
Hmm.
125 at the end of the day. It's a variant, it's got a Ahsoka Tano on the cover. It's a rare variant too. So that's what's selling for me this week. Now, I also if you're somebody who's interested in this sort of book, you need to know that the Mile High variants came bagged. They all came in a poly bag. So what you see right over here, this is a copy of it outside. That means that, it was outside of the bag. Somebody had it, read it, preserved it, and decided to resell it. So if there's two that you can look for, there's the unbagged and the bagged. The bagged is definitely going to cost you more money because it's in its actual natural state. And then this one over here would be a little bit less. This was up for sale for a while. I had put it up when Star Wars was moving more with more speed, but it got to the price that I wanted with time. But this is what these were the two highest sellers for me this week. So I'm not sure about the Simpsons and all the absolute Batman stuff I had that was lower priced is gone. So I'm not re-upping on anything. The only thing I have left is there was a Batman #1 variant with a Akira Akira movie theater poster homage cover. That's the only thing that I have left from that, and that's like pretty high priced. So that'll go when it goes. But these were the two of the biggest sales that I had this week. 150, 100 and sorry, 150, 125. I don't know how these I'm looking at, I mean, I'm doing better. And I'm doing better. And it's not CGC 9.8. I'm doing better.
Well, I'll say to end this, they had 10. I think you said no to three, which would be The Simpsons, Youngblood, and the annual of the Absolute Batman. You were
If there's
okay with it.
anybody out there,
Hmm?
if there's anybody out there who will say yes to Youngblood, please leave your position in the comments. I would like to talk to you. I would like, what do they like to say on the college campuses these days? Please change my mind. Change my mind. I would like to talk
Wow.
to you.
Yeah, it's a definite thing. Even the re dialogue by Joe Casey, I think I think I don't think it should just been left as is. I don't think you can get a better story out of it. You can have maybe some snappier dialogue, but the story is what it is. So, but
That's saying a lot, man. You're saying that, man, you're saying an experienced writer, a good writer who's written some
dude, it's the
classic
same.
stories.
It's
Joe
the
Casey.
same. It's the same pages though.
It's like Joe Casey. There's nothing Joe Casey could do to save this.
Look, I think this is the trick. The trick is what Casey's doing now is what Claremont, Byrne, Scott Lobdell, yeah, those are the guys, scripting over like Jim Lee and what's name plots, and they would have pages that really didn't have anything going on, and they would add a ton of dialogue to it, captions, all this other stuff, and people were looking at the image stuff, and they were like, "Oh, we took all that out, and you can see, yeah, there's nothing going on because they're filling up the space. Like sometimes there'd be a shot of the Reavers, like say, say I'm a Reaver, and the back is like setting up the Sentinel, so there's a Sentinel head, and it's not the best storytelling because it would be better if you see them from the outside, or you just go from the inside and just have them bust in, where they're trying to have a little thing, and it's just like, and this is Will Portatio, so the storytelling at points weren't strong, but there was so much dynamic stuff in it. And I'm excluding Liefeld's stuff because he has some dynamic splash pages, but some of the fight scenes would be punch here, guy with hands up like this. And it's just like, come on. Like and some of them was here's a George Perez double splash page, which I'm aping. That's for young blood for what's it X Force #1. So but I'm in agreement that I don't see there's so many of those copies of that. And but anyway, yeah, thanks for adding the two that your recent thing. I wanted to get to that, and we definitely got to that, and we got a good portion that you guys
Yeah.
can check out that are trending up that you can try to buy, and some of them that maybe you could price it higher than what they said. No
Well,
denigration to how they're
I,
working, but we have our
well,
expert
I'm
here.
not trying to. I'm really not trying to denigrate.
Yeah,
Really not, and I'm not trying to flex
yeah,
unnecessarily. But for those people coming in, I don't want people going and looking at that top 10 list like, oh, this is some stuff I should look for. You shouldn't be running out to the comic store, going through the back issues. Hey, you got that Simpsons #1? You have like, no, some of this stuff over here doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And I was in agreement with one of the books with V for Vendetta because I had a recent sale on that one myself, and their sale, well, they're saying the average sale was higher than mine, so that's fine. But just for scope, that's where my money, that's where some of my larger, that again, these were two of the largest sales that I had, not the only, but the two of the largest sales that I had, and they're easily, easily in comparison to that list, the sales are higher. Okay, the sales are higher by on average about $60, and they have nothing to do with those two particular books over there. So just to keep that, just to keep that in mind overall when you're thinking of market, because if it was hot, if it was something that was really selling, really moving, there's a very good chance I would have it and I'd also be selling it. And since I'm not, hey, these guys don't have the books that I have. I don't have the books that they have, and we're selling as we do. When it's hot, we're selling across the board. So then they would say something like, "Oh, what sold for you? Invincible #50. Oh, me too, because it's hot across the board." And so everybody's selling it.
Hmm. Yeah. So yeah, get back to us. Like and subscribe, and tell us some of your things that are trending. Spin a rack.
One thing quickly, hey, for everybody who subscribes, everybody leaves a comment, really appreciate it. I know there was a couple of people who made some requests for us to do some videos. I think the request is specifically for me to do the video, and I'm so sorry I never got around to it. I was burned out over the summer, but I really hope we appreciate it because we're not doing content here. Okay, this is not OnlyFans. We don't do content. We do shows. Okay, we do shows. We have some ideas. We talk about them. We try to be entertaining, try to be informative. So we really appreciate when you guys come in. We appreciate the comments. And for people who enjoy this type of format, unscripted, okay, we're not trying to sell stuff. There's no product that we're trying to push in the middle of the show. We understand that you guys come in here strictly because you like the format, and we appreciate that. Love to see what you put in the comments as well.
Right, spin a rack.
We're out.
Out.